What's up, everybody? How's everyone doing today? Electric's Music, Mind B. How you guys doing? Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. I think today I want to work a little bit on the arrangement, a little bit on the transitions. So I often have these sessions where it'll kind of be a sort of flow of consciousness sound design session where just throw all the ideas out there and then spend a few sessions listening to it, outlining where I think certain things maybe drag on too much, certain things sound a bit too loopy. Hey, Safas, how you doing? And so kind of identified, I think, where we could tighten things up a little bit in terms of the arrangement and the transition. And yeah, maybe we can do a couple of sound design things, add a few unique elements. Yes, I think we need to work on some fills, some of that kind of stuff. Yes, so in case you didn't, in case you missed the announcements and the last stream and stuff, recently just put out a sample pack, kind of designed to drag and drop the perfect intro. Most of the samples that you heard here are from the pack. Lots of atmospheres, woodwind stuff that I recorded myself off the duduk, flutes, all that kind of stuff, splashes. These still were from the working project, so the names aren't quite correct here, but obviously in the final product, these sounds are the same, they just have better naming. When I actually was working on this project live, I hadn't announced the thing yet, so this was still kind of like a work in progress. But yeah, all of these sounds are from the pack. It's kind of designed with common keys in mind. So it's like, say for example, we're working at A sharp, there's a bunch of A sharp atmospheres, woodwinds, that kind of stuff. You just drag it in, ready to go. Uplifters, downlifters, a lot of that kind of stuff. But yeah, I've spent the last few streams kind of just focusing in on that. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about that, and now we're going to kind of do some sound design, like unique stuff specifically for this track, I think. Work a little bit on tightening it up and stuff. Hey, Isomatic, how's it going? I don't recall if it's a default hotkey. I don't think it is. I think I did actually add this hotkey, Shift-I, just adds in a little clip like that. And so often when I'm just listening, and actually have it here on my thing as well. What is this thing called? A Stream Deck as well. So I can kind of go there and add things. But so that's kind of, you know, when I'm listening, I kind of just drop a little clip there. And then I either remember what I'm supposed to do, or I can kind of just say here, like, tighten transition. Maybe I'm thinking like maybe we can make this whole loop shorter, and it kind of feels counterintuitive to, you know, because music is so often in 4s, 8s, 16s, 32s, kind of feels counterintuitive to shorten something but not quite to the 16. Does that make sense? So we'll kind of go 3 loops of it and then into this bar, I think, you know, tighten up the whole overall movement of the track, the momentum, I think. Okay, so that's that idea. I also think, yeah, some fills could work really well in terms of speeding things up a little bit. I also think that we need some kind of like big thing here in the intro. Could be like a vocal or something like that. Could be cool. Obviously don't want to go searching for vocal samples right now, but something that tells us like, okay, it's this track now, you know. You know what I've been enjoying doing lately? is using some kind of percussive sound and pitching it up a lot, and then doing like a click, 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 kind of just to keep like a rhythm going in the transition section, right? So we could perhaps even take a kick. We're gonna just drag it out here. Drop it here. And then let's put it onto a sampler. Like that. And let's pitch it up a lot, I think. Yes, yes, I cloned this kick. Deep Jungle Walk. Always. Do we want an impact there? I think we do. I think we want a sub impact there. Boom. Tick tock. And then here we have, I feel like that kind of carries the momentum a little bit better than just the silence. And then here we can have some kind of fill that leads into the track. So the easiest way, I think, to move everything along would be to just cut all of these tails and then just drag the whole thing like this. Yep. Pretty sweet. Like that. And now if we move this marker along like this is basically just if we insert a time signature change, but then don't actually change the time signature, it like resets the bar in the timeline. So it's a pretty cool way of, you know, when you do these kind of like awkward timing things, you can just reset it so that your loop looks better. Such a small thing, but you know, I know you know. Oh wait, we didn't quite do it all the way. We need to go further with the whole thing like this. Wham. Also didn't want to start with the lead straight away. I wanted clean kick and bass for a little bit first, and maybe a couple of sound effects, I think. You see there, it kind of starts to feel like it's dragging on a bit much, like the idea has been done already, and now it's kind of just, you're waiting for the drop at that point. So we might as well transition into the drop, right? Hey. It's a weird one with me. Like, I don't really care too much about changing the colors of the tracks because it doesn't change how quick I can work, right? But this thing does a little bit, because if you zoom out, you can't click on in between bars, right? So if we're looking at the project in a bigger scheme, you can quickly just boom and grab that loop, right? Where so it makes a little bit of a workflow difference. It's not just all visual, but hey, I get it. I'm guilty. I'm guilty. My projects do look like shit. I think, yeah, we can switch into like a filter, start a transition here, and then a small break, and then maybe drop this bar here. Let's try this. And I know it seems, like I said, it seems counterintuitive, but reference a lot of Psytrance tracks, you'll see that this is actually more common than you think. You know, not being exactly on the grid, on the 16ths, on the 32s. I feel like it also helps to sort of create a bit of tension because it drops when you're not expecting it, if you know what I mean. I mean, it just feels like it works so much better. Like I said, it seems counterintuitive, but I feel like it also opens it up to be more creative. You know what I mean? Because you're not just like, okay, 32 bars now a new thing, 16 bars now a new thing. You know what I mean? You're actually kind of going with the flow, and when something needs to change, you actually change it. You know? Yeah. Anyway. Hey, Salu Saib. Hey, Simon. I also just realized that I forgot to mention that I am launching something new. How fast you work in Bitwig takes me half an hour to remember how to do things I've done 100 times before. Hey, Last All. So, I think the biggest thing I can say to help with like workflow and getting more efficient is the Control Enter thing. Because from here, you can search anything that the program has to do, and you can find like the short key for it, or just trigger it directly from here. So you can actually just click copy and it does the thing. So if you can't remember a short key, or you just Control Enter and search for it, and then you can just click on it, you know. But yes, let me talk about this thing. So I'm launching something new. I'm launching monthly seminars, which are, I guess, kind of like live streams, but designed to be way more in-depth, way more focused, where I will pick specific topics and really just deep dive on that topic. So the first seminar I will be hosting starts next week, Wednesday, and thereafter it'll be last Wednesday of every month. I will be hosting it on Patreon. And I will also then afterwards ask if anyone wants specific topics to be covered, which we can then deep dive afterwards. So it's a nice way to be able to ask questions. Maybe you have burning questions about specific topics, or if you just want to know, like, if you want like a direct download of all the info that I have on a specific topic, you can also request that, and then we'll do seminars on that. So yeah, like I said, I'll be hosting that on Patreon, and you can check out the link in the description. I think I remembered to put the link this time. Otherwise, I think the bot also just posted a link in the chat for more info on that. And hopefully I'll see you guys next Wednesday. Anyway, let's dive back in. There again, it kind of feels like the momentum of this track is 24 bars long rather than 32, which is like the usual. So, I mean, if it sounds right, we're just going to go for it. So, I also feel like here it should transition quicker. But I think this is a bit more tricky because we have these kind of lead-ins and stuff. So I'm actually going to cut a part from here and drag it like this, so the end is still there. Because it's all like MIDI and stuff, mostly, there shouldn't be any weird overlap in the audio. And I mean, we'll probably just remove that as well. Mute. Yeah, okay, we can maybe... Oops, what have I done? What did I just do now? Huh? I've just gone into some weird... Oh, there we go. What the hell was that? Is it Z? Did I press Z? No, something else. Anyway. Oh, maybe it was A. That's the automation mode hotkey. That's why. I was supposed to press Alt A, which is to disable. Okay, that's pretty good to know. You can press A and it shows you the global automation, so you can quickly draw in stuff. Okay, that's pretty cool. I've been meaning to use sends more, like send reverbs, but I use a lot of bounce to new audio track. Bounce and play so much. Problem is the new audio track doesn't carry. Yep, you're right. Duplicate track bounce. So what I've actually been doing is I've been using this set of sends for the longest time. It's EQ. It's 3 instances of EQ with Valhalla Supermassive with a bunch of different presets, right? Yeah, thanks. I just realized. Yeah, I was supposed to press Alt A, man. And so I eventually figured out a little method where I've made those 3 reverbs, but into a audio rack. One is just a dry signal, so I can control how much dry I want in it, and then it's basically a send to the big, medium, and small, and then these have a similar thing where it's just a tool before, and so you can kind of like wash the in, and then the tail will still remain. Does that make sense? I know, I'm still so used to the old workflow. I haven't even switched over to the new automation stuff. I'm still just going track by track, to be honest. And so with this, you can then bounce things, and that reverb will be on the actual channel. And it sounds like send return because you have the dry. These are it's like a volume pre the reverb. So that's basically how I've worked around it. Simon, thank you. I appreciate that. What were we doing? Oh, we just transitioned here. Let's see if we've got any overlapping bits. I removed that. We should be good, I think. Yep. Okay. We can actually just go like this, just so everything looks neater. I think we can shorten this whole breakdown as well, because like I'm trying to do another breakdown here and I'm already at the 7-minute mark. I think we could fix that part up as well a little bit. This feels like, I mean, there's not too much stuff going on, but it kind of feels like a lot of stuff is clashing in a mid-range, I think. Mid and top range, I think. So we could maybe clean that part up in terms of the, like, what is playing where. Where is it? This one shot. I think this, I was maybe a little bit lazy here, but just duplicating it. I think here in the break, we can maybe change it up a little bit, add some effects so it echoes out, and then maybe use that here as well as like a sort of background element to the ARP, or even just remove it completely. I feel like the ARP does carry that section quite well. Anyway, so I think here, like I said, this breakdown, when it gets here, it feels like we should start building the momentum already. But then it only starts to build again here. So I think it would sound better if it was something like this. Okay, that's pretty sweet. So we've like bought another minute by just shifting things along a little bit, where I think it actually sounded better anyway. So we've kind of like now able to add in a whole other like longer breakdown at the end here, where we had these chords and stuff. I don't know who here was actually following in that stream as well, but we left off where, hey, thank you, Keithlo, appreciate that. We left off where I was creating this kind of progression here. I wasn't quite sure if I wanted to drop into like the kick and bass playing the same progression or not, so I kind of just was like, you know what, we'll just leave it there for today. So I think that it would be cool if it was like playing along with the kick and bass, but I feel like then it starts to sound a bit too like trancey or like hard trance kind of vibes as opposed to psytrance, you know what I mean? But I do like mixing it up a little bit and using these kind of like inspirations in breakdowns, because it definitely helps to create contrast. So like the more psychedelic elements will sound more psychedelic if you have something that's less so in the breakdown, for example, you know. Okay. Where should we go from here? I think I wanted to work on some one-shots and stuff here in the beginning. Here, the sound feels like it comes in a bit randomly. One-shots. Transition sounded good. We want a fill or some kind of thing here, I think. Fills. Oopsie, sorry about that. Just realized my mic was off. I'm just thinking now, how much did you guys miss? Scenes. I'm so used to using the scenes, even though I'm not using it right now. We're doing more arrangement stuff. I'm just so used to having it, because that's like, I usually do my sound design and begin the track there and kind of drag things off it from there. Yes, so this, what I do here usually with these things is I will duplicate it so that, or group it so that any kind of duplicates or affected versions of it are kind of like all grouped together. It just makes it easier for like a final mix or something like that. If I wanted to like apply an EQ to one thing, we can just do it to the group and all the sounds are kind of the same, if you know what I mean. So here the idea is I want to maybe use just this hit here. Oh, it's already got a lot of delay on it, but maybe we can just boost the delay so it's more audible in the mix. So it just makes it easier, like if you're going to have like lots of different versions of it. Like here, for example, we've got one version with just one hit with some delays and stuff. So you don't necessarily need to, like if we were going to EQ it, we don't necessarily need to put the EQ on each channel. We could just put it on the group, right? This should be 0, I think. Hey, Subtropic Studios, how's it going? What's up? Should we do melody or should we do more like rhythm? I kind of like that. It sounds very infected-y. Now we want the scenes open again. Sorry, Keith. Let's do both and we can kind of decide between them. Sounds really fire. Did you give the big announcement? I missed the beginning. I did, but the big announcement is that I'm launching new monthly seminars. So these will be kind of really in-depth, focused on specific topics. We'll do them once a month, hosted on Patreon. So that means that we'll also request future topics for seminars, and it'll be an opportunity, like if you have like a burning question about specific topics, like the first one, which will be launching next Wednesday, will be mixing. If you have specific questions on stuff, it's a good opportunity to hear those questions, or if you just want like literally a flow of knowledge on a specific topic, you can also then request that for a future one. The other one is also that I recently put out a sample pack, which was kind of designed to be drag and drop your perfect intro. So a bunch of the sounds here in the breakdowns, intros, and all that kind of stuff were taken from my new sample pack. So all the links will be in the description if you are wondering. Also, another thing, actually, crazy that, like, I don't know if you guys saw, there was a Vital update. It kind of came out of the blue. Should release your 3,000. I know, I should, right? I'm going to, though. I'm going to. I've actually got almost enough for a full album, but I don't want to give away too much yet. So, well, to put it this way, like stuff I'm actually happy and ready that it's ready for release. Yeah, a vital update just came out of the blue. So I think it was all bugs and stuff. There aren't actually any new features, but you know what? It's got me thinking that it means that Matt is probably back on the project and working on it. So he obviously took a couple of years off, rightfully so, because it was one of the biggest releases in plugins in the past decade. And so it looks like he's maybe back on the project, working on a couple of other updates. Who knows? So obviously that's just speculation at this point, but pretty exciting. Pretty exciting. am very excuse me. I'm very tempted by Zebra 3. Very, very tempted. But unfortunately, I'm still on the beta license. So I'm waiting for my update, if you know what I mean. I'm going to try my luck with Yuhi and see if they will update me based on the content that I've made already. But we'll see. I totally should just buy it. I totally should, but I'm going to try my luck first and then... I've tried VPS Avenger out a few times, but I'm not big on it because it's a lot of jumping around and menu diving and like a lot of different things. I don't know how to explain it, but it's just so big in such a small package, if that makes sense. So it's very capable and it sounds good, but it's just for the workflow for me is just a little bit on the clunky side. It could just be because I haven't used it enough, right? But you know, I think nowadays like stuff like Phase Plant is a lot more capable, maybe not in certain degrees like with the drums and that kind of thing, and the workflow is just so much more intuitive. So much more intuitive. I think even Serum to a degree now is Serum 2 competes with VPS Avenger as a full package, you know, drums, sequencer, everything, right? Effects, all that stuff. Bro, Falcon is even a lot more intuitive than VPS Avenger, to be honest. And Falcon is known to not be very intuitive. So I don't. That's just my personal opinion on it. You know, I even find Falcon a lot more intuitive. Uh-oh, Infiltrator. Limited time. And this dice never disappoints. It says random, but nah, it reads your mind and it's like, okay, I'm gonna give you this one. You know what could be cool on here is like some also like Shaperbox. I think two together with Infected Mushroom plugins are a blast. Yeah. I mean, they're both very similar things, right? I think like Infiltrator for me, the reason why I think it has the edge is the sequencer here. This thing is so freaking cool. It kind of reminds me of dBlue Glitch. You know, like, is that even still a plugin that even still works on Windows? But yeah, dBlue Glitch, like the original of these kind of weird glitch boxes, which ironically I didn't get my name, or ironically is not the right. Anyway, I didn't get my name glitch from the plugin, if anyone's wondering, by the way. It was long before the plugin came out, actually, that I chose my name. Aging myself. Hey, sup, Antares Project. How are you doing? Hi, Shivarium. And of course, everyone else is joining in. Hope everyone is having a good Friday so far. Plugin bridge. Oh, okay. Okay, it does. Cool. But like, yeah, the sequencer kind of reminds me of the way that you sequenced the little blocks in that. Of course, it's two-dimensional. It's not just one. So you can have multiple things at once. More like Effectrix, I guess. Hey, sneaky. So more like Effectrix, I guess, which I think is still a thing, right? Yeah, this kind of combines all of those plugins in one, which I think is really, really good. Configuring web servers. Totally not my idea of fun. At least you got something to watch. Oh yeah, I was about to mention we want to do some kind of ping-pongy thing here, I think. We could sequence it with a pan here, but I think true random could be pretty cool. know, I think instead of as like a looping sequence, I feel like this might work better just as like a little one shot with like a bunch of echo or something, or delay on it or something like that. Do you know what I mean? So let's try see if we can. Just that like last part. It's kind of got a cool tone to it. Rather than like a lead, just as like an effect. Let's try this out with some delay. Kind of suits this vibe of this other sort of arpeggiated sample and hold type of pluck sound here as well, which I think is pretty cool. So it kind of suits the stuff that's already in the track, which is always a bonus. Okay, let's actually bounce this out. We can mute that, and we can even put it into this here, because now it's a similar kind of sound, right? Okay, folks, please excuse me for 2 minutes while I run to the bathroom and get a refill over here. So let me just find a cool part to loop. I'll just loop the whole thing. I don't think I'll be that long anyway. Loop. Play. I'll see you guys in 2 minutes. Don't go anywhere. Do you mean this here? TikTok here? Well, my last album is available on Bandcamp. But yeah, I'm, like I said, almost done with another one. You know, let's try something here. What could be cool is to transform this from a percussive rhythmic sound into harmonies. Let's try out bismuth. They changed the damn hotkey to add a loop over the loop, and it confuses me every single time. I think here, let's try run it through a reverb afterwards. And then do we mix the depth here? Yes, I think we do it like this, because now we have synths, which we can boost like afterwards. Although we maybe wanted to drop to like that chord ambience a little bit before the kick and bass drops in, so maybe we'll shift it along. Shift it along so it kind of like fades in like this, I think. Although that still feels like it's mixes in a bit suddenly. Sounds pretty good. Sounds pretty good. I think here I want to create... Okay, let's group this. Duplicate. So that we can kind of have these variations. This one won't have the automation and stuff. This one will. I mean, I'm going to end up muting it, but I'm just leaving it there in case I want to go back. Okay, let's bounce. It did a weird thing. When I bounced there, the reverbs didn't seem to work properly. Oh, sometimes when duplicating, like copy pasting Valhalla Supermassive, I don't know why. Sometimes it just does a weird thing. Where it'll reset its parameters. So let's just redo this. You can actually delete, add it back again. I think these were down and this was then being modulated. Something like that. I was wondering why there was not really much tail on that reverb. Like you could see it in the actual sample. pretty cool as like a transitionary element, you know, to kind of build up tension in some parts, I think. I like that. Yeah, I think here instead of having the pan in Serum, we're gonna do it after the gate. I feel like we have a bit more control that way. think here I'm actually just going to chop like some one-shots and stuff out, which we can piece together to kind of turn into some kind of fill or something. I think could be cool. Because like once we've set it up like this, all we need to do is like to create variations of this. I'm actually going to drop this here and remove it. And then we can jump into Serum. No, in fact, it's not even in Serum. It's the velocities which are doing. So we can just go like this. Randomize the velocities. Now we have random velocities there. And then we can go like this and then randomize this pattern here. We want to hover and click like that. That is so sick. At the end there, kind of, it gets this like fidgety kind of sound there. What is going on, huh? Sweet. Okay, so let's go like this, and then we can just arrange these in some kind of interesting pattern to create fills. So like this. I'm just putting this in randomly. I don't know what is where, but we're just gonna try it out because we can also just hold Alt Shift. No, is it Shift? They changed the hotkey. What have they done? Oh, it's Control Alt. Yep. To Control Alt to then like move along if you want like, oh, so here, let's maybe do the fidgety piece here at the end. There we go. Now that I'm hearing it in sequence, I don't know about this. Hey, Elberb, how you doing? I don't know about this one shot over here. It can maybe come later, but for now, let's just mute it. I feel like we could also refine this sequence a little bit as well. It feels like it starts to kind of feel a bit repetitive after a little bit because it's the same thing looping, obviously. So we could maybe shift it up in a couple of places, like replacing a few hits with similar sounds or affecting them in different ways. don't know if there's stuff there that should actually not be. You know what I mean? So let's see. I'm on a i9 13th gen, 32 gigs of RAM, but actually I had 64, but then I had an issue with one of the slots or something. And hey, I forget to be honest. I'm not too into the PC stuff, yeah, but it's i9 13th gen, 32 gigs of RAM at the moment, but usually 64. But I just need to swap out one of the RAM slots where there was an issue. Yeah, dude, to be honest, like since I got it, it's been amazing. It's been amazing. I think the biggest thing for me was like rendering videos and stuff. That was like the biggest pain in the butt. I never really used to struggle too much with like project load and that kind of thing because I often used I used quite a high not sample rate, bit buffer size. Sorry, it was like I just couldn't think of the word buffer size. So obviously here in the settings, changing your buffer size affects how well your machine performs. It obviously introduces latency. But then I'm just so used to, because I've been producing for so long on PCs that weren't this good, I've kind of gotten so into the habit of bouncing stuff to audio, doing that kind of workflow, and that definitely does help in terms of CPU usage. But yeah, I think the biggest thing that I've noticed since upgrading the machine was like video stuff. Yeah, just the biggest. Oh, also like with streams. So for example, like previously, like my setup, I could only run at like 30 frames per second before the CPU started affecting my stuff here. But now I can stream at 60 frames per second, and it's like OBS is 0.1%. Mac? To be honest, I'm not too interested lately with Mac. I used to. I had a MacBook Pro since 2012 to about 2019 or so. And then lately I've just been running either Linux or Windows on it because I've noticed with Apple, they've kind of got into the vibe now of trying to sell you a new thing every year, and that's expensive. You know, because eventually like the stuff will be obsolete, and then you need a new OS, and to use your software you need to then upgrade the OS, and then the new OS needs a new machine, and I don't know, like obviously they're good computers, and like I don't want to compare the two, but something I've noticed lately is like with Mac, it's one of those things where you kind of have to keep up to date, otherwise the software kind of locks you out, which I'm not too into that, to be honest. Hey, Gameboy Z, how you doing? So let's make some variations of this one. I think here, what could be really cool is a variation of these ones, a variation of the variations, and then we can add some more variations. Hey bro, I heard you like variations. I think here we could do like a sweep up, duh, and then a squelchy laser thing. I saw Mega Mod, it does seem kind of cool, but I mean, like, I've got all that stuff in Bitwig already, so. RevNet from Sonic Lab, I have not. What is that? Sonic Lab stuff is usually really ace. New bug unlocked. What the fuck is going on here? Where's the other handle? I guess we could just do the whole thing. That's kind of weird, hey? And then it just adds the handles. It's because I drew the note and then chopped it up. So it's obviously like somewhere outside of the bounds of where the note is. I'm modulating the wrong filter cutoff. How to open a bottle of wine. I don't know. It kind of sounded better though. Maybe we'll just do both. Yeah, that sounds good. You know what I think we could do is, let's bounce this and then split it into two so that we have this part where it starts to kind of like get to a note, and then we have this squelch part in the beginning, and then we can kind of fade in and then maybe just apply the delay to this last one that sounds like it's a note. Oscillator phase and serum random on purpose. I mean, it doesn't really matter all that much for these kind of like synthy sounds, especially when it's starting at a higher pitch, because it's so fast at that point, you can't really determine whether it's, do you know what I mean? and we're just doing a one shot, so it doesn't really matter, I guess. But with a bass, it's definitely re-triggered. Do you mean this break before here? Or this break afterwards? Okay, folks. I'm gonna need to run for 2 minutes. I need to go to the bathroom, and then I will be back. So don't go anywhere. We'll do a little bit more stuff here. I wonder what else it still needs. Anyway, let's loop the whole thing. Oh, we still need to do the main drop right at the end here. Anyway, loop the whole thing. And I will be back in 2 minutes, folks. I will see you soon. Don't go anywhere. feels like this transition should come a little bit earlier as well here, I think. Maybe we can do like this. I don't know why the filter inside the sampler sounds so different to the other filters. Very weird. Have you got a full review of Zeb 3 in the works now that it's out? I probably won't do like a review on it because, like, I mean, even in the beta stage, I was pretty. I mean, I already think it's bloody awesome. But yeah, I'll definitely have more videos in terms of like the sound design stuff coming out for it. I feel like I've already covered quite a lot though. So if you haven't seen my previous Zebra 3 videos, I would definitely suggest checking those out because there's quite a lot of stuff covered there. That still applies, obviously, in the latest version. It's just these 3 leads carrying the whole track. That's crazy. The rest is just one-shots and sound effects. Glide bass groove part. Huh. It's... I think then we're going to have to do it here. But it's like right at the end. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's the last hurrah of the track. Do we really want to change into a glide? Because that usually requires then a transition back. You know what I mean? Unless we glide it out the rest of the track. But I feel like that'll change the momentum quite a bit. trying to time like the octave shift with that really fast LFO. So when the LFO goes fast, it shifts the octave up at the same time with the random. I think that'd be pretty cool. Hey, Yahel 1999, Telemaska. That's the vibe. The good old days. I don't really use Ableton that much. I mean, I have it, but I don't really use it much because it doesn't really offer anything that I can't do here. So, I mean, here I have mix view, which is like Ableton's scene view. So I could trigger clips and everything like this. When I do perform live, though, I don't use software. I DJ the tracks. I feel like we spend so much time mixing and mastering and perfecting the music. When you perform it live in something like a DAW, there's so much to control that it can become quite daunting. And I've noticed on the bigger the festival system, the harder it is to actually get a good mix in like your headphones. And so the more and more that I've performed over the years, the harder it's become to get to hear a good mix then actually and perform it as well in a DAW. So I found that just focusing on creating a collection of good tracks and performing those live kind of as a DJ, but they're all my tracks, right? Then perfecting them in studio, I feel like that's more effective because at the end of the day, nobody on the dance floor is really like, oh, is this Bitwig or Ableton? You know, what EQ is the guy using? You know, is it Serum or Vital? You know, they're just jamming. And if the tune is good, the tune is good. And it's most likely going to sound good if it's mastered and mixed nicely, you know, in the studio where you can actually hear what you're doing. It's even just to get a good headphone mix to beat match is tough enough because often the festival systems are just so freaking loud that you can barely hear your headphones. You have to like boost them and you like really listen in to hear like the beat, if you know what I mean. Yeah, so I find like performing tracks that are already mixed and mastered just always sounds better to me. There's less to worry about on the spot, less to go wrong and that kind of thing. And then also like on a professional level, when dealing with the promoters and the organizers, the last thing that they want to see is a crash or like your laptop shuts down or now there's an issue with Ableton, it needs to update or something, it's not working, or do you know what I mean? And I get you. Make a track and make a live are very different. Like, I get you. But when I do like live performative stuff, it's not really in a DAW, it's more just on my modular system. Do you know what I mean? I find that's so much more fun because you're kind of outside the world of the DAW and you're also then not too focused on what the mix sounds like. You're kind of just playing around and that kind of thing. But it's dangerous on a big festival system because, you know, turning a volume up too loud and like, do you know what I mean? Yeah. You can't go high easy from live with live mastering. How do you mean? Like with plugins and stuff that do it kind of while you're performing? I feel like most of the time when I do see people performing live, most of it's kind of already set up in the DAW, and they press play, and then it kind of just does the thing through, and they maybe play like a lead or something over the top. But I find with that, I have a better connection with the crowd when I'm actually DJing the tracks. Because say, for example, you know, in a live set, if you have the thing already planned out, and now a track comes in and it's a 7-minute long track, and you can check the crowd is not vibing the track, you can't just like skip through. Do you know what I mean? But as a DJ, you can just mix into another track. And so, yeah, it's just like over the years, I've found it's more enjoyable for me because I stress less and I can kind of interact with the crowd better, where it's like you mix in a track, if you see they're not vibing it as much as the previous track, then you just mix out into another one. But I feel with a live performance, you're also so involved in the 100 million things that you have to do, like in the DAW, that it's difficult to even connect with the crowd, you know? I mean, I'm not for or against either one. It's just like I've found live, it's living. What do you mean, though? I get that, but I mean, like, the mistakes that you can make performing live can be severe. You know what I mean? Imagine slamming a volume in Ableton like to plus 6 dB and the mix is at like -6, and then you suddenly send a sine wave through to a 20k rig turbo sound system and just like blow the eardrums of 1,000 people at once. Do you know what I mean? It's like, that's not the kind of thing you really want to do. But it's, you know, it depends on the festival. If it's a smaller festival, then I would just take some stuff and perform on a modular system. Do you know what I mean? And just have fun with it. But yeah, to be honest, I haven't actually played live in a long time. A long time. But I've been performing live since like 2008. So yeah. Where should we go with this one? I think that this lead now that we've created is so much better than the previous one. We should maybe just, yeah, use this previous one as the transitionary element, I think. I feel like we could also use this quite effectively as like a fill added into those other fills that we created earlier. Do a similar like infiltrator type thing. So I think here I'm just going to duplicate this. Where was it that we needed to add a fill? I think it was somewhere around here. I think that one was okay. I think it was here. We weren't too happy with this one. But we're not going to give away the prize too early, so we're not going to let folks know that we have this little arpeggiated thing at the end here. We'll just do a quick little dip of the rhythmic part, I think. That one is it's a bit random, so we should maybe render these out until we get a good hit. I'm planning to make a video on how to make good offbeat bass like Data Neelix Fake Symphonics. I haven't planned one yet. I have done a couple of that kind of thing in the past. I should do some kind of updated one though, to be honest. It has been a while. And my algorithm on YouTube is calling for a new bass video. You know what I'm saying? Bass videos are just like guaranteed views, so I should do it. Now the bonus is we can actually, excuse me, use this and just reverse it and use it as like a bit of a riser type thing in some parts. Okay, folks, I think that's where I'm going to leave it for today. It's time to go make some dinner. Don't forget, though, the new monthly seminars that I'm launching that'll be hosted on Patreon. We will be deep diving into specific topics. So the first one that I'll be doing will be kicking off next Wednesday. We will be deep diving into mixing. So I'll be talking about workflows, pretty much everything that I know. I'll just be giving out all my knowledge on mixing, and then thereon further, we will also be taking requests for if you have specific topics that you do want me to cover in those seminars, then we'll deep dive on those as well. But I do have a couple of topics planned for basically it'll be a monthly thing. So last Wednesday of every month we'll be doing that. And then also, if you missed it, the sample pack, obviously, drag and drop the perfect intro, basically, is the idea. Record that as reverb. Sound on stream for 4 bars, playing from camera only. Ah, yes. Could do that. It's like a lo-fi filter. Just like re-record it, and then what I'll do is I will download it from the YouTube stream and then re-import it into the project. Lo-fi MP3 filter thing. Cool. So what I will do is I will play this whole thing through. I'll loop it through once or twice for those who want to stick around to hear what we've made throughout the stream. And we actually started this, I think, 2 or 3 streams ago. Is where we actually started this whole idea for this track. So if you are wanting to check out all the other stuff like the bass and how we made all that stuff, that's available in a stream from, it was probably, I think, about a month ago. Probably about a month ago now. And then, yeah, mixing seminar next week, Wednesday, launching, and then it'll be a monthly thing thereafter, hosted on Patreon. Anyway, thanks everyone for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed that. I will see you guys next time. Stick around if you want to hear the full tune. Cheers, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Bye.